God's mission.
Are we live? Okay.
Until I got all the junk in the garage, I just put my boat in one side. I could put that sucker a half inch from the wall, just backing it in. I got pretty good at that.
Hello, Roy.
Couple minutes yet?
Yeah, let's.
I want to get rid of this before I forget it again.
I got it. Thank you.
You got a minute to talk about this tonight?
Yeah, definitely. I'll give you a word. Okay, yeah, let's stand for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Bob, would you?
Bow our heads. Father, again, we thank you for allowing us to come and meet to refresh our memories and our mission. But we also pray for this country and for the people that keep us safe. Be with those who fly, those who search, provide them with safety of travels and in good health. And we just thank you for what you blessed this squadron with. In your name we pray. Amen.
All right. Everybody. We have online on Teams Roy Knight and Mario Rodriguez. Thank you for joining. We have pretty good attendance today. Two of our members traveling for vacation, so they're not here, and they're enjoying their anniversary together. Let them have some fun. Formally today we're supposed to have airspace education night, but I think with a few prospect visitors, for prospect members being here, we will talk more about our missions and how to join Civil Air Patrol and what kind of contribution you can bring to our squadron. And to begin with, I'd like the visitors to introduce yourselves, talk about what brings you in, how you are related if you are related in any way to aviation, and anything else you'd like to share with us today. So we can start with Harper, maybe. Please stand and turn. You can stay there, and I will just put the camera on.
So my name is Harper. I'm 25. I'm a student pilot right now, going to right next door over here at Riverside Flight Academy. And I'm also studying at Chino Airport doing helicopter stuff. I'm pretty much here because I'm kind of curious about what this is all about. I've heard about Civil Air Patrol. Not 100% familiar with it. I'm just kind of curious to see if this is something that I would be interested in doing. I am definitely interested in search and rescue. That's kind of like a direction that I would like to go in the future. So that's why I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Harper.
Welcome.
Your mom, I believe?
Yes, I'm Maddie, and I'm here to be support. And as a senior, I've done a lot of things, so you know, I'm sure I can help somewhere if I'm called to.
Yes, Civil Air Patrol is not only about aviation, it's also about supporting, providing additional services to our operations. We have a lot of ground-based operations, which we'll talk about as well.
Great.
Yes. Adrian?
Yes, my name is Adrian Vargas. I've always been a fan of aviation. I'm a pilot. I got all my certificates across the street with ATP. I have pretty much everything up until like your ATP and any type ratings. So I have a high endorsement, multi-engine instrument, all that stuff. I've always loved aviation. I've always loved flying. Dream of mine has always been to be in the Air Force, but we're still trying to get there, hopefully.
Are you CFI?
No. That's not a route that I wanted to go. But yeah, I mean, I'm here. I'm curious as to what Civil Air Patrol does and the type of missions that you guys do, and if I could be in any help, that's what I'm here to do.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you guys coming over. So we'll talk about all of the above for this meeting. So let's start with few household related matters relevant to civil patrol, and we will begin as usually with the status on our aircraft. November 743 Charlie Papa. Lon, would you like to come forward and talk about it? Or not really? Okay, that's okay.
I'll try to speak up so you can hear me. So the aircraft is flying well. The last incident was that we had a hot mag, left mag, and that ended up being a broken P lead for the left mag. So that was fixed, and they took it to the air show the other day, and Terry told me that it was flying well. The oil consumption doesn't seem to be excessive. The last oil analysis showed that all the readings were in the normal range, and so what we thought might have been a bad sample or something, I think that's kind of maybe what it was either the sample or the analysis 3 oil changes ago showed high contents of nickel, silver, and iron, but they're all normal now. So that's good news. There's a couple things that administrationally we have to do. They're in the aircraft maintenance officer's handbook of things to do. They want us to have a risk assessment mitigation plan and a checklist that gets done by our squadron safety officer once a year. And so I've made a draft of that, and I can, rather than, I can just scroll through that. This is what it looks like. I won't go on all the details because you probably have a busy night, but these are the things that it talks about in this mitigation plan, and I'm going to be putting some more pictures and stuff in it. This the layout on how to position the plane, then how to execute it. So there's procedure on how to put the plane in, and everybody knows this, that you're usually supposed to have like 6 people to tow an airplane or back an airplane, which rarely happens. So the California Wing gave me a best practice book to read through and develop our plan with, and that's kind of what I did, is gained a lot of the wording, or some of the wording anyway, to put into this document, and then what goes into it. So there's things like, I've already posted this placard in our hangar, but I'm gonna have some pictures that go along with it too. And then there's alternatives. So they say in best practice, if you cannot find at least 2 people to back your plane in, then you should use an alternative parking. And so I've laid out where our alternative parking is at, where you can tie it down and safely secure it with 1 person just by, taxing it into place. Then here's the hangar inspection checklist that I'll go over with Roger. He's the one that has to, sign off this once a year, and then we post it on the board. And then this last thing is the tug course training. I just threw that in there because we talk about it in the document too. So I won't go into any more of that. I'll email you a copy of this when I get the next layer of pictures in there that I want to, and then I'll get with Roger for him to go over the checklist items that I have in there now and see if he can add some, or if he thinks they sound appropriate. And then the last item I just wanted to point out for all the pilots, just to remind them that in this document that I've been referring to for aircraft maintenance, there's a supplement that came out from the wing that they added any aircraft within 10 hours, 10 TAC hours of any maintenance event, like an oil change, 100-hour inspection, may not be used without the approval of the Cal Wing Director of Operations, I believe that's Pruzak, and or the California Wing Dome, which is Gary Cinnamon. So an email to them stating, your name, why you need to put hours on the plane, what the duration is. I think they got some planes that like overflew maybe their oil change item or 100-hour time, and so now they want to try to get a better handle on that. So they added that into the supplement. Thought I'd at least mention it.
Okay, that's good.
Idea to reinforce this knowledge to all pilots. I would add that Mike has previously prepared a pretty detailed course for learning how to tug the airplane in.
I just sent them to you.
Yes,
and, Juan and Chris.
I previously received it. So I actually made a revision of it. I enhanced it slightly. So I'll share it again with the group, and we can have it endorsed by safety officer as well. And all the new pilots within our squadron, we can certainly enforce it. As far as the group level pilots and pilots outside of our group, I'm not sure how we can actually take any action of enforcement on that training, but we can at least distribute it outside of our unit and bring it to attention of safety officer of other units. I think that's the best we can do. And if safety officer would like to, we can establish a training day for all the pilots who are flying this aircraft from Riverside, who can come and get the training done. So, any questions, comments?
Yeah, I hate regulations, but a way to regulate that is if your name isn't on the list, then there would be a lockbox to, you know, that you would have to open in order to use the tug.
We actually used to have the tugger locked up
Yeah,
with a different combination lock and a chain. I don't even know if I think the chain's still bolted down to the floor.
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
No,
years ago.
I hate regulation like that because I just do.
Well, I mean, safety is important. There are incidents happening nationwide with improper handling.
Aircraft on the ground more than air incidents, so it's good to keep reinforcement on these items.
And I did look into Bob's question about why we don't use retreads. And Gary's response is, well, because we don't. And I says, well, they got more tread on them. And he basically came back and he says, well, if you want to buy some on your next need, then go ahead.
Okay. Good to know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lon.
Next couple of IT related items. So there will be a rollout of two-factor authentication to e-services and to other IT related resources. I believe the notifications will start going down the chain this week, actually. Am I right, Chris?
I haven't seen that yet.
So anyway, so you will, again, I reinforce it again. Please check your CEP email regularly, at least once a week or every day. Ideally, every day. I check it all the time. There is no excuse why not to do that, because we all have smartphones, tablets, and so on and so forth, and it's pretty easy to configure your email client to receive more than one email.
Supposed to start today.
All right, so I remember it right. So it's the two-factor authentication is not going to be enabled for you. You just have to go into your profile and enable it, and the instructions were distributed to the CEP emails to every single member. If you did not receive the instructions, please reach out to me or Chris. We will forward them to you. If you are not familiar with two-factor authentication, again, talk to us, read online. It's straightforward. You can enroll your cell phone to receive a text message, and then you enter the code received in a text message during the logging process to the resources of CEP. The reason this is being implemented, number of our members' accounts got hacked because their passwords were not strong enough, maybe too obvious to figure it out, and that caused a little bit of disturbance to the IT infrastructure with spam emails and so on and so forth. The other less significant update, we have an admin computer in the office which is missing the hard drive. That's a kind of funny story. I purchased that hard drive from Amazon. It's Western Digital SSD. It failed. I sent it for RMA end of February to Western Digital. It's in warranty. They acknowledged they received it, and then they went dark.
Yeah.
So I queried them what's going on with the RMA. No response. I called them. They had been hacked in a bad way. So the resources were kind of unavailable for a period of time. So they were not able to handle any RMA whatsoever. So now I'm receiving two conflicting messages. One is saying that my hard drive is already en route by UPS, but the time when I will receive it keeps pushing back. Looks like they haven't shipped it yet. They just printed the label. And the second message is that they are sorry that this happened, but I am not their highest priority shipping us a new hard drive. They have a lot of customers waiting, so they're gonna get back to us whenever they can. Not a big deal. It's just whatever $100 hard drive, but that's a funny story. So if you are a Western Digital customer and you are planning to send hard drive for RMA, be prepared for a long wait time. Okay, next one is there is an upcoming Xerox in Sierras, Northern California. So if anyone is interested, we may form a crew and fly there, camp out, and enjoy some interesting time with Northern California squadrons. So think about it. If you need, when it's, hold on a second, I'll tell you exactly when.
Sacramento?
No, hold on a second. They are not including all the details, but let me see. It's a group 6 RX. Well, they don't say where. They have a sign-up form, and the it will take place June 2nd through June 4th.
Do they have the mission number posted?
Yes, the mission
We can
number
look
is
the mission number up and see where it's supposed to be.
3 Tango 4946. They're also going to be Xerox in Southern California, in San Diego area. So I cannot find that email, but let's see. If I search differently, I can locate it. But same reinforcement again, check your emails, and if you don't, you are missing out on opportunities. That Northern California event will be hosted at by Mariposa Yosemite unit. So the sign up will close May 15th, and the form is included in the email. Again, reach out to me if you are interested, and we will form a small group, and we can reserve the aircraft for that. I believe there was an email about the San Diego Xerox, but I don't see it in my mailbox.
Yeah, there was one about 4 days ago, 3-4 days ago.
Right.
Was that a group 7?
I think so. I marked it. I remember I read it and I marked it, but then it disappeared. Maybe I accidentally deleted it. So if anyone right now can find it, let me know. The SAROX for visitors is the search and rescue exercise. So that's an opportunity to come, get training, and get hands-on experience and get sign off on specific skills which you already learn through self-education or through internal resources as we have at the squadron. And you typically need 2 attendances to these events to get complete sign-off. So be on lookout for those kind of emails and don't waste the opportunity, because they come and go, and as the budget depletes, you may not have one for a while.
Question: are we as like visitors and not yet members able to attend?
No, only full members can attend. So we will talk about how to become members shortly once I finish a few other items. There is also, yes, sir?
The location for the Group 6 SARX is in Maricopa,
Mariposa.
Oakhurst Area National Forest.
Right. So it's a great
I'm not entirely sure what
opportunity.
airport they're
Become
going to,
involved.
but that's Mark Sobel, Chris Johnson, and Cliff Chabot are putting that on, so.
Yeah, so we will also talk briefly about our IT resources.
Later today, and we will show you how to find the event information in our WIMMERS system. Another training opportunity, if you'd like to get CPR and first aid training, it's available wing-wide, and the email was sent by, just a second, I'll go back to my filter, by James Bird, Lieutenant James Bird. So there is a way to sign up and find the instructors, so please look it up and go for it if you're interested. It's a good skill to have. You're pilot, you're flying with air crew. In case of emergency, you can help hands-on. Last but not least, we had a great attendance at the SoCal Air Show at March Air Force Base. Thank you to Terry and Bob for attending and manning our booth. Also Roy Knight, appreciate your service. You've done a great job. Roy, Terry, Bob attended on Saturday. Terry and myself attended on Sunday. There was much better attendance on Sunday, actually. So according to Terry, in the morning by around 10 a.m. we had more people in the field than the peak of the time on Saturday. So that was perfect. Our airplane was super busy. People were in and out all the time. We even sometimes had to ask people to be courteous to other people and let them, give them the opportunity to experience being in the cockpit of Cessna 182 with G1000 avionics. A lot of interesting cadet programs. The tent we had was busy all the time. Cadets did a good job. That mock-up of airplane Squadron 45 built was always full of kids. They abused that thing a lot. Some pieces were falling off by the end of the day, so they had they have some work to do to fix it up. Ken Banner actually brought a set of headsets for that thing, and people could listen to ATC and they could talk to each other over the headphones. Parents could use the third headset and talk to the kids. It was a lot of fun. People loved it. Thank you, Mike, for providing the generator that was working all the time, tirelessly. It powered our aircraft and it powered that mock-up aircraft.
Oh, great.
So thanks a lot, really appreciate it.
Is it back in the hangar?
Yes, it's back in the hangar, and the extension cord, the yellow extension cord, I believe.
That was not mine. I think that yellow extension cord was actually in the hangar, but I don't know.
Okay, so it's in the hangar anyway.
There's a little gas can and the generator is mine.
So let me connect to the TV and I can show a few pictures I took. Also, please follow our Squadron Facebook page and take opportunity to share through your network and to the groups you sign up to, so we can get more traffic to our page. We are currently around 800 followers. Not a lot of people actually interact with it, but I can see certainly like a solid group of people who give us likes, mostly present members or past members. And I will give a word to Roy Knight in a moment to talk about how we can make Facebook more engaging. So just bear with me for a sec. I'll show a few pictures. While this one is connecting, I'd like to thank everyone who has participated and who is participating in WMAO duty. This is very important. Just a reminder, this gives us an opportunity to be first ones to respond to the inquiry for search and rescue exercise, and it doesn't really take much of an effort. Just have your phone available with you, not on do not disturb mode, and take the call from the number you do not recognize over either 12 or 24-hour period, depends what you sign up for. Okay, so there you go. Oh, funny pictures, not our airplane, but I wanted to show you it anyway. So it's, I believe, from some squadron in Midwest. They were flying, landed, and then suddenly a swarm of bees appeared on one side of the aircraft. So apparently these bees were moving around and they got tired, so they decided to take a break.
Out of the sun, nice
New queen bees.
safe from the varmints.
Right, so most likely a queen bee landed there and the whole hive followed her. They usually stay for a while, then they pick up and go. They have no interest in aircraft which smells of gas and oil. If they stay longer and you are concerned about them nesting there, so just find the whatever they call it, bee man, who can come and take care of it. They usually come and take the queen, and the rest of the hive just goes away. It's important though, if you didn't fly your aircraft for a while, check it out under the hood in all open spaces. Make sure nobody's making a nest, birds, insects, and whatnot. It's pretty common source of fire if birds nested in the engine compartment and a pilot missed to check what is going on under the cowling during the pre-flight. Some of the pictures of U.S. Air Force aircraft. Anybody can recognize this one?
See that? That's the big gray one.
Yes, that's how I call it.
Civilian term.
There was a MiG-15 from China.
The SARX in at C, or KSEE, which is, what is that?
It's Gillespie Field.
Gillespie, yeah.
Gillespie Field.
It's May 12th through May 30th.
Oh, so it's a flexible SARX.
Well, they always try to put in there because of weather and.
Okay, so it's probably going to be over the weekend of May 12th, right? And then it may extend for as long as budget permits.
They always put it in for 30 days if they can.
These airplanes make a lot of noise.
Major problem then.
Probably the loudest there at the show. It was a very cool Riverside Police Department vehicle. So if you see one behind you, beware. Well, that's a very recognizable aircraft. Serves probably one of the longest serving in Air Force since end of 50s, right?
What was the tail number on that plane?
The tail number 0031, I think. Well, that's
31? I crewed 1003.
Mhm. Oh, well, this is aircraft, I believe, based out of China. If I'm not
Isn't that the
mistaken.
commemorative Air Force? out of
Oh,
here?
it's actually out
Is
of,
that the M1?
it's from
No,
here,
it's a-
right?
It's
It's
a
a,
C-53.
what's up, Doc?
Oh,
It's like a C-47, but it's
Yeah.
a C-53. All the aircraft that's been over-engineered. And they put in rivets in their wings that are at least, the heads are at least an inch in diameter, because they weren't sure what was gonna happen with this design. And that's why they're still flying.
I forgot to
Share it for the guys on Teams, and they're
Did you get
staying
the B2
quiet.
in there? Didn't you get a B2 in there?
I didn't take all the pictures of all
Yeah, it
airplane.
left today. Kinda noisy. It's out of Minnesota.
Okay, so Roy and not left out Mario. All right, this car was making lots of noise. They would honk their horn every hour at least and scare everyone away.
That's the train horn or the diesel? Yeah.
It was right next to us. So this aircraft was amazing because it was so quiet flying, despite the size. I believe it's based at March. Could be wrong. Well, that's our aircraft. The internet is a little slow, but here you go. That's probably Terry standing behind the door talking to someone. Some very excited kids. Kids starting around 10 and older get very interested in aviation when they give them an opportunity to touch things and actually explain. They ask questions, and many, after talking to us at the airplane, went and talked to cadets at the canopy.
The worst thing taken is the old trainer that the Aero Club had at March that Ken took and rebuilt. The kids thought it was a toy, and they're slamming the stuff around. I went over there and said, "This isn't a toy, it's for training." And so you don't pull it all the way out. And by that time, the one side panel was already loose on the thing. But
Yeah.
then Mama says, "Are you hearing what he says? Or why didn't you say something earlier, Mom?"
Yeah, problem is nobody out of cadets attended it. That would be much more productive and safe for that thing if someone was all the time standing by and explaining things to kids.
They printed 2,000 or 3,000 folders to be passed out or sold, and they couldn't get any volunteers to do it. So know where they are. They're still sitting in the office. So they printed those things 24 hours for 3 days in a row. Starts from the printing, puts the page together, puts the staple in, and spits it out the other end. And so they had all these catalogs with the events going on in it, and nobody got them on the flight line. So, it wasn't organized. They really need to work on it.
Yes, and the flight
Line was right behind us, so this big aircraft standing right next to us, warming up their engines. They were making a lot of noise, and
You had the A-10.
yes, an
You had the
A-10.
A-10 and the F-35. They ran for 40 minutes, and we breathed. Waiting for
Lots
their
of
turn
fumes.
To taxi out from the Airbus, and all it was kerosene fumes. Oh, man,
And
it was terrible.
A-10 was warming up for like at least an hour in our case, and it never took off. So it was just making noise and fumes for no reason. That was a little bit of disappointment.
I think the Saturday attendance was down because Friday was Family Day. So for all the people that worked out at March or Active or what have you, they could bring their families out and get out on the flight line out there and watch them. So that was Family Day. So there's a number of thousands of people probably that were out, and they didn't come on Saturday and Sunday to miss the crowd and come out on Friday.
So these are Thunderbirds. They were at the end of
The show. I was busy most of the time, so I took pictures only occasionally. I couldn't miss these guys.
Yeah, the Patriots. I think the Patriots put on a good show.
Patriots did a good job.
They come out of Camarillo, I believe. They got L39. They're Czech trainers.
All right.
And, they're like an A4. They sit up pretty high. And their formation is much closer than what the Thunderbirds do.
Oh, the Thunderbirds were pretty impressive too.
They just kind of go fast one way and another way and make a lot of noise with their engines and burn 'em. That's all they know how to do. I'm sorry, I'm biased.
That's our layout.
I heard that, Tater. That's enough of that.
That's noisy vehicle is driving away. These are Thunderbirds and 743 Charlie Papa.
Ah, sorry about that. I think I lost Wi-Fi for a second or something. Doesn't work. Technology. Now sometimes it drops the connection, but then it shows like it's connected here. That's what happened. This one is nice picture.
Do you have these posted on Facebook?
Yes, Roy did a good job.
Where are the pool noodles for when we have public displays?
Well, I
They in the
put them
hanger?
back in the hanger, right on one of the boxes. Do we usually keep the pool noodles in some kind of a compartment? They were pretty clean.
The pool noodles,
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
those are usually,
Those are new.
Oh, okay.
Terry bought them.
okay.
well, we used to have some in the hangar, but we just put them on the, if you're looking at the aircraft from the outside to the left side, right there. So,
Oh, good.
And they served a good purpose.
Many people save their head because of the pool
it's very
noodles.
smart.
Right, and thanks Terry again for thinking about that. That's, I think, the final act of Thunderbirds. And that's the whole thing packed up and went. A little bit of a safety concern. Believe it or not, Aaron is holding that tug. He was holding
Bob
it,
didn't see that.
driving it.
Yeah, Bob didn't see that.
And a little up close with Thunderbirds. I was flying the 743 Charlie Papa back home, and I was taxiing right in front of the whole row of Thunderbirds. They were getting ready to go, I guess. And I'm holding short of runway 30. And Corsair departing to Chino. And that's it. All right. Roy, would you like to add something? Roy? Maybe
Hear
not.
me? I've got, my mic is on.
Yes, we have you.
Okay, hear me now?
Yeah, poor network quality on our end, but we can hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah, you're kind of, the picture becoming pixelated. It was a good show. We had, you need at least 3 people there for an airplane, and we were in good shape as far as that went. I guess we had one bailout on Sunday, which I guess was your busy day. The other thing I would say about it is you won't be able to people who are interested in becoming cadets, 2 cadets to talk to, and they apparently forgot the purpose of this entire event because there was 1 cadet there for and a lot of activity. I hope they sold some flags because they didn't do a hell of a lot of recruiting, unfortunately. So, but it was a great show. It's hot, and thank you very much for the pictures. And if I can use that as a segue real quick regarding Facebook. I'm going to plead to everyone, whenever you participate in any CAP activity, no matter how mundane you may think it is, please send me some pictures so that I can post it on Facebook. We want the world to see what Squadron 5 is doing. So please, if you would, you're doing a selfie? Yeah, there you go. We want the world to see what Squadron 5 is doing, that we're an active, vibrant squadron, that we are. But you know how it works in the world. If you don't tell people, they don't know. And we want to tell people. So, and also any flying that you do, get some pictures. Don't care how much, don't care what kind of flying it is, send pictures. Okay, and then a little bit of information, like a hero. And real good on the air show pictures. Thank you, Andre.
No problem, Roy. Thank you so much. Thank you, Roy. All right. Any questions on air show? Cool. Let's talk about Singular Patrol, what we do, and how to join us.
I have something to
Okay.
present. I have this box of goodies here that I've accumulated over the years in CAP. There's probably things in here that you guys might want. Emblems, flags, patches, bars, placards for your event, your achievements. We can take these apart and so just make a $1 donation for everything you take. There's Velcro. This is the black Velcro. I don't know. Did you want green or black? I think I got green in my car. So anyway, there's all kinds of stuff in here. There's comm badges. There's here's one Bigfoot patch. Huh? Anybody know what that is?
No.
The Bigfoot is the angels.
Oh.
I think that's their logo. I'm not sure, but I got that from them. The only thing that I want to sell is my coins. I like those. And pretty much anything else in here that you might need for the future. Little stickers that go on your ribbons, bars that hold your ribbons. I got all kinds of stuff. So go through it here. Leave $1 for anything you take, and then I'll probably donate the money to the squadron anyway. So I've been accumulating that for like 15 years, so I don't need it all.
I started building my box already too.
Yeah.
You
leaving?
I went to the KWAL tenant meeting.
Time to go?
Got my
Yeah,
daughter
go ahead.
visiting from Texas.
Come on. See ya.
So,
Chris has a board.
Oh, I also have a set of Lightspeed headsets. It's one of their original headsets. I think I posted it once already, but they're good for an $80 trade-in. So if you're going to get new Lightspeed headsets, you can send in the old one. They'll give you $80 for it. I'll give them to you if you're going to get a new set of headsets. Just trade them in.
I have the Delta Zulus, highly recommended. So.
Yeah, I have the regular Zulus, and they're great. I've had them for years, but I also got these like a long time ago, and I can't buy muffs for them anymore because they discontinued them. So, but they'll take them for an $80 trade-in. So.
Lightspeed's upgrade program is really, really good.
Yeah,
so.
and I'm going to give you I'll give them to you if you're going to do that. So that's an $80 gift if you think about it. So.
Well, hey.
Anyway.
Real quick. So on Thursday, the 20th, I went to the Riverside tenant meeting and made some chicken scratch notes here. I just want to cover the highlights.
Just for prospects, present yourself.
Oh yeah, sorry. My name's Christopher Younger. I'm one of the deputy commanders here. So I do a lot of just behind the scenes administrative stuff. I'm also the professional development officer. So if you choose to join CAP or want to learn more about it, in addition to Andre, I'm a really good resource, and so is Mike, because we're all the deputy commanders, and we know how to get people through the program and get you set up. And most likely, they'll be talking to me throughout the process. So that's me in a nutshell. But like I said, of all the things in the background, we are a tenant of Riverside Airport, and I attended the meeting to make sure that we got some updates from the airport manager and the different tenants that are there. So super quick, the PAPI lights. So runway 9's PAPI lights have been out of service for quite a while. The reason is they have a tilt sensor in there. If they start to, the ground starts to shift and they tilt, they will automatically disable themselves so that they don't give an improper glide slope. That's why they're disabled. Why that's happening is due to erosion and gophers and field squirrels and all kinds of neat stuff. And the fix for it is very expensive, about $50,000-$60,000 worth of concrete and replacement, and that's just to fix the erosion problem before they actually fix the lights. So that's the issue with PAPI, in case you ever wonder. The roof assessments. I know. So I went to RFA. You're going to RFA. They're going to completely replace that roof. So that's going to probably disrupt service over there for a little bit. Looks like the second week of May. It's another $60,000 project.
Speaking of which, maybe we can offer RFA an option to use our facility in exchange of referral program.
Maybe.
Well, they're, yeah, I mean, they can use our facility, they probably will not, but we can offer it to them in the interim as a temporary thing.
Yeah, like especially their ground schools, probably.
If we make any money, we have to actually get that plan approved, so, but if we give it to them for free, it's okay.
Hey, they let us use our Wi-Fi. So.
Good, it's good, neighborhood, what do you call it?
Neighborly.
Yeah.
Runway 34, in case anyone's wondering what's going on with that. The reason they stopped using runway 34 for operations was there's a camera over there on one of the poles, I guess probably on Arlington. That's what the tower uses to see if any aircraft becomes disabled or look at the hotspot over in that area. That whole replacement process has been kind of a cluster. The FAA, when they submitted that they're going to replace the camera with the same camera, just one that's working, the FAA said we must do a safety risk assessment on this new camera, to which the airport said we're replacing it with the same camera that it was. Why do you need a safety assessment? Who knows? They got tired of that discussion, so the airport manager just went ahead and ordered a new camera and said we'll deal with the ramifications later. That's been delayed to late May, continuously delayed for supply chain issues. So that's why runway 34 is not in service. The airport manager wishes to, those of us who actually drive on the airport property, they've been getting more and more reports of vehicles driving too fast in the ramp areas and the non-movement areas. So watch your speed. It's supposed to be 15 miles an hour. The other thing is, try to stay as close to the buildings as possible. Try not to drive right down the middle of a taxiway. And there have been runway incursions, like actual FAA investigated runway incursions by vehicles, not by any tenants, thankfully, but by one was a contractor doing some work, electrical work or something like that, drove onto the runway without telling anybody. That was super fun. And another one was somebody stole CPU's golf cart and parked it on the middle of the runway at about 2 o'clock in the morning one day. So that was, so that was kind of neat. I think one thing that might come up for us is hangar inspections are coming. They probably already told you about that, but well, hangar inspections. The FAA, because I noticed over at Corona, I'm getting the same thing. We're having inspections throughout the month of May, so I'm assuming at some point we'll have a hangar inspection. I know Corona, it's a little bit heightened awareness over there because we had a couple of fires in hangars. I don't know what they're going to do here, but I I don't think we have any issues that we have to worry about.
We have a friendship with airport people here. They have access to our hangar anytime they want to, and they've inspected it. Not ours this year yet, but they have inspected it in the past. We haven't had any issues.
I know that Corona, like, the only reason I bring it up is because of Corona. That's where my plane is. We've had hangar fires, and they've determined the source of the last major fire was a refrigerator. So I'm just like, that's.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Well, because nobody actually pulls them out and blows the dust off the coils, and there you go. But the last major fire we had was, and that was a few months ago. That was caused by a refrigerator. Quickly going on. Yeah, no, I took a lot of notes, as you can tell. I actually went. Pattern. This isn't a problem for us or CAP. I mean, at least not what I've heard. The report technically was being complained against CBU, but people flying loose patterns. So if you're flying a pattern here at Riverside, keep it close. They probably teach you this at Riverside Flight Academy. You should always be within gliding distance of the runway. As long as you're adhering to that, you're going to be tight enough to avoid any noise complaints. Apparently, some people at CBU or instructors, or I don't know what's going on, are milling around southeast of the airport, circling over CBU and waving to their friends or something like that. Don't do that. July 8th, if anyone's interested, there is the commemorative Air Force birthday for their B-17, maybe. I'm not sure which aircraft it was, but they're going to have a public event here at the airport to celebrate its 80th birthday. So take that for what it is.
You can buy a ride now.
Yeah, I'd love to do that one of these days. That's a bucket list item. I think the last one was the FAA representative from the FSDO there. There is a runway safety action team that no one apparently attends, so he wishes people would attend it. If you ever, so this is an interesting one. If you ever have a bird strike or know of somebody who has a recent bird strike, one of the things that the FAA has asked is that before they completely clean off the residue of the bird, that you get samples of the bird to type it, because the FAA wants to know which bird that was, because they track the migratory patterns and they want to see if birds are being in places that they shouldn't be. So, and the last set of things are actually a bunch of good news from the FAA, which we don't normally hear, right? The FAA is releasing a bunch, or they have master awards. So there is a Master Aviator Award, Master Mechanic Award, and I do believe there's actually a Master ATC Award or something like that. The requirements for these, because you can recommend people for them, is 50 years of flying and a U.S. citizen, no at-fault accidents, and have never had your license revoked. And that accounts for mechanics and aviators and obviously ATC. If you recommend somebody to the FAA who fits these requirements, I'm looking at you, Bob.
Weren't you close?
Yeah.
I think I've been flying 60 years. I don't know.
Yeah. So Bob might be
60
up.
years.
Yeah, Bob might be up because your military time counts. Any civil aviation time obviously counts, but military time does add into
I got
it.
a resume of what airplanes I've flown in time, and I just never submitted it.
You might be up for a
You know, it's
Master
just
Aviator
another-
Award, Bob.
Let's submit
Yeah.
Bob.
We
I
should
know,
probably
see,
look at it.
Dr. Foster will come out, and he wants the wife to be there while he pins you on a pin.
And I'm
She won't
assuming
show up.
I'm assuming you've never had any revoked licenses.
You can actually have an incident, and it does not count against you.
Right, incidents are fine as long as you didn't do something that you were deemed by the FAA to be at fault.
Revoked your license. So, and 3 reference letters from pilots or mechanics. So they have to be active certificated pilots or mechanics. Reference letters, and there you go, submitted for Master Aviator. That's all the notes from the meeting. It was actually pretty good. It was a pretty decent
I was
showing.
trying to get there, but the traffic from Orange County stopped me from.
I actually went in my aviators and was well overdressed. So.
Yeah. So one more item I forgot to mention. Through Airport Manager, I got introduced and WAP2 via email to the Tower Manager. So we will be. I'm already in contact with him. His name is Kevin Cox. So he promised he'll find time to come with his crew or some of his crew to our meeting, and maybe we will have a pizza party and have them to talk about their operations and whatnot. So that's coming up. Great. So that concludes the official part of the meeting. We are almost at the top of the hour. Let's talk about Civil Air Patrol and how to join us. So most of the marketing stuff you can find on our website, gocivilairpatrol.org. But I will talk about specific how you can join and contribute to Senior Squadron at Riverside. So formal requirements are to attend 3 meetings, not in a sequence, but we have to have 3 records of you being here. We will sit and discuss, not necessarily at the last meeting, but through course of these 3 meetings, your goals in aviation, how you can contribute to Civil Air Patrol, what is your availability, and etc. And at the end of those 3 days, we will essentially help you to complete the application and the fingerprint card, which you will mail to national headquarters with the dues, annual dues for national level, which is, I believe, $82 at this time for California region. And then you wait, you can keep coming to our meetings. You are just not a member yet. You will be in the visitor section of the log. But after a couple of weeks, you will receive actually the email. So make sure on your application you complete the mail in a legible way. Otherwise, you will never know you're already a member. Or when your check cleared, that's another way to know. And in that email, you will have your temporary ID card with what we call CUP ID, which is your permanent ID for the duration of your membership with the organization. And from that point forward, you can come on board with our squadron. What it takes to become a member of a squadron, you pay squadron dues. Our dues are currently at $300, but we will revise at the end of the fiscal year based on actual membership. So we have a budget, and our budget is very simple. It's essentially this facility rental fee and a hangar rental fee nominal of $1 a month, plus some utility like lights, internet, and pretty much it. Very transparent amount. We discuss it every year. If any changes happen to the costs, we factor it into the budget. And through the year, we are trying to keep the cost down. For example, right now, myself and Bob went to meet with airport manager, and we discussed the possible ways of reducing the fees for the rental, and he promised to take a look at options. Potentially, we may present our case to Riverside City Council. Long story short, hopefully we'll get that reduced. Additionally, I'm working with T-Mobile to get a replacement for Spectrum Internet, which is pretty expensive. And they have a promotion, and this area is in good coverage. So I'm just trying to figure out what kind of entity I should submit for registration, and I'll take care of it. So most likely in May we'll switch our internet provider to T-Mobile. In parallel, I'm trying also to make it free. So I reached out to the headquarters of T-Mobile and building the case with them. If that works out, maybe as a PR action, which may be taken at the wing level or national level, we'll find out. So far, I'm just trying to get the bill lower. So that's the reason we have the dues. That we are not drawing any expense other than maintenance of the facility. We additionally contribute on case-by-case basis from our members for supplies like coffee, paper towels, toilet paper, cleaning supplies, etc. Those are not factored into the dues. We are not that level of sophistication, and trying to keep it simple for the members. How you get it back from the dues you pay, right? Well, you get to fly very inexpensive self-funded missions in civil air patrol aircraft once you come through an onboarding process, which you can actually review in details at our website. Rental rate dry for Cessna 182 is $77 an hour. You cannot find those kind of rates. So if you want to stay proficient, fly in advanced avionics aircraft, which is extremely well maintained, that's a great opportunity all by itself. Another level, once you become a VFR pilot, you get free military bag subscription to ForFlight. That's a top of the line of civilian subscription. So that alone is justified by the dues you pay. If you are paying for ForFlight today, you're gonna get it for free as long as you are a member of CAP. Okay, so as long as you maintain your pilot status with CAP. If you fail your review, Form 5 review on annual basis, your subscription will be suspended and you go back to your personal subscription. Also, keep in mind, if you already paid up your personal subscription, let's say, and it's already mid-term, this money are not wasted. So your military bag subscription takes over on a specific date, and your personal subscription will continue whenever you drop out of our CAP subscription. So that's probably the highest benefit. Additional benefits is actually, if you're interested in a community service, there are many ways to contribute to the community. Once you become cadet orientation flight pilot, you're giving back by flying cadets, and it's extremely rewarding experience. You don't have to be a CFI. The requirement is to have 200 PIC hours and be fond of aviation and have an energy to talk to cadets and actually introduce them to the flight. I personally love it. I'm trying to fly at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, just doing that. It easily gives you, if you're building time, gives you 3-4 hours of flight time if you fly 3 to 4 cadets. Then once you reach 200 hours, you can start the process on boarding as a mission pilot. And as a mission pilot, once you clear through the process, you get to fly Air Force funded missions. Those could be, well, we don't do much of search and rescue, but it could be damage assessment after some disaster like flood and whatnot, maybe excessive snow. It could be actual search and rescue for missing hikers and whatnot. There were a few last year up in Northern California. Once you spend a couple more extra years and you can get qualified for counter drug and border patrol missions, that gives you a lot of flying opportunities. Outside of that, we do the WADS, Western Air Defense Sector missions. We are training the fighter pilots to intercept TFR violations, the slow flying target basically. And the secondary aircraft, there are typically 2 civil air patrol aircraft involved in those missions. One is the target, the other one is communication support. So we call it high bird. So high bird is flying in a loop, transmitting the messages, and the target is working with actual fighters through the process. We were supposed to fly one of those missions yesterday, but due to the weather at Riverside, we had to cancel. Anything else I missed out of significance?
No, I mean, the rest is, if you go to the website, look at what it takes to join CAP, the different missions we have, and the onboarding process. That's, if you have any questions, it's a lot of data. Reach out to one of us. Website has the ability to contact us directly. So.
Yeah, and options for non-pilots to contribute. There are 3 roles in the aircraft for the missions. Of course, the pilot. Then we have an observer. Observer is the person sitting in the right seat and talking on the radio and actually managing the mission. You don't have to be a pilot to become an observer. It requires a little bit more training for non-pilot people, but it's doable. And the simplest mission, crew specialty is scanner. Scanner sits in the back of the aircraft, left or right, and either looking for something of interest on the ground or taking pictures of, again, stuff of our interest. In case of damage assessment, disaster relief missions, we are looking at what kind of damage was in a specific area and pass the information up to FEMA or other agency for their processing. Besides air missions, there is a lot of things we can do on the ground. You can get engaged with cadets in the local squadrons. They always need help. If you like hiking, you can get into the ground team. In fact, it would be great if we established a ground team at our squadron. So far, we didn't have that for a while. So what ground team does is they are ground support for our missions. It could be, again, related to disaster relief. It could be search and rescue related, and so on and so forth. You can also get engaged with unmanned aircraft program. We have small unmanned aircraft systems program for cadets, and you can help them go through the process becoming unmanned aircraft pilots. If anything I missed, well, there is also an element of aerospace education in Civil Air Patrol, where we can engage with local communities, with schools, colleges, etc., and promote aerospace subject and STEM programs which Civil Air Patrol has in place. After COVID, schools have been neglected on this aspect, so that's a pretty open field. You can onboard educators as education members for Civil Air Patrol. They get lifetime membership. They don't have to wear a uniform, attend the meetings, but that gives them access to a broad range of resources on Civil Air Patrol website for STEM kits, education materials, etc. Plus, a teacher gets an opportunity for introduction orientation flight. And the program for that flight is actually fly over the school and let the kids wave at the teacher. Of course, at the proper altitude, etc., and not disturbing the local communities. Yes?
So are there any specific physical requirements to do this stuff? Like,
No, as long as you have a FAA certificate. If you can fly the airplane legally, you can do all of these things.
yeah, I guess I just have like a concern about that because I know there's certain things, like if there was something that had to be done, they would probably say, okay, you're gonna be there for this amount of time, you're gonna have to do this, this, and this, and if somebody's not able to do that, would they
There is no requirement to do anything. If you don't feel like you fit for it, you don't do it. We are a volunteer organization, and you do not have obligations to go on a mission.
Yeah, because we live in Southern California and it gets really hot. So
Right.
I know some people that would say, oh, there's no way I'm gonna fly in 100 degrees. Like obviously that's 100% reasonable, so.
We have to follow FAA aeromedical factors recommendations. If you are not feeling safe, you don't fly. If you have a commitment to a mission, even though it could be Air Force funded, but you are not feeling suited for specific day and time, you are bored. You are pilot in command. It's really up to you.
If I'm not mistaken, you can be handicapped and still participate on a ground team or do administrative work, whatever. But as far as flying is concerned, there are some issues in regards to certain handicapped people.
Right.
Therefore, they'll be restricted.
Right. Yes, and at the squadron level, we have number of positions which we currently don't have fulfilled. You can participate in the role of administrative officer, in the role of secondary safety officer. We have a health officer on staff, luckily right now, so many ways to help and contribute. But keep in mind, you are not part of government formal organization, you are part of volunteer organization. If you have time and energy, you do it. If you don't, you give it a break.
Are there any squadrons that use helicopters at all, or is it only planes?
No. We have one hot air balloon somewhere.
We have some gliders.
We have gliders, yes. No helicopters.
Gliders are out of Hemet.
Out of Hemet and also out near
Los Alamitos.
Los Alamitos.
Okay.
Any other
There's a couple of glider ports, I think, in Nevada somewhere.
Adrian?
No, it's all really interesting. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll be
you're
here
looking
next
to
Tuesday.
build time, there is plenty of opportunity.
Yeah,
to do that.
yeah,
How many
definitely.
hours you have?
I'm at about like 310, 320.
So you are straight up qualified for mission pilot?
Yeah.
You just have to go through the process.
Right,
completing
right.
few items.
That's what Terry was telling me, that the whole application process is
Since
kind
we
of,
are sponsored by US Air Force, there are specific policies and procedures
Right,
we
of
have to
course.
follow, because the primary goal of this organization is to fly safe and stay alive.
as anyone should.
And there is a little bit extra stuff we have to learn of CEP policies and procedures on top of FAA.
Right.
So none of our CEP procedures supersede FAA procedures. It's extra measure on safety.
Comfort, etc. We have like maximum aircrew duty period, for example, we cannot exceed. So if you feel like it's too much for you to fly, you say no. It's your responsibility to stay safe yourself and to keep your aircrew safe.
And especially if you already have like you've already got a lot of certificates and you have hours, go to that website, look in the pilot onboarding section,
Okay.
and it spells out the path to becoming a mission pilot.
Okay.
Because you already have the hour requirement done. The rest of it is just I spell out because I created that part of the site, and there it'll spell out the things you need to accomplish.
Okay.
So the first of those being join CAP, complete level 1 and level 2 part 1, which is what we call CAP onboarding. And it teaches you the organization, what we are, how you can contribute, and the rules and regs and uniforms, that type of thing. But
And-
once
And is all that self-paced, or is it like you complete it in one sitting? and
we
it's
like
done?
we like everybody to get through level 1 in 90 days, but
Oh, okay.
but you'll find that you can do it in like a few hours.
Yeah.
So it's self-paced. The majority of it is online.
Okay.
So and then obviously we're here to help if there's like because a lot of it is just like most like if you've ever been to Iraq, which it sounds like you have.
Yeah.
It's about as convoluted once you get into how do I log this, how do I
Right.
do this. So but the path is pretty straightforward. It's just learn, test, learn, test, and eventually you'll get into your form. We call Form 5s, our normal check rides. So just checking out for the aircraft, and then you have a Form 91, which is the mission pilot check ride, which you're getting into search and rescue, grid.
And is there training that we complete prior to that? Okay.
Yeah, and especially
So
are there
for
still
pilot
funds for it?
onboarding, basically, the process is very straightforward. Once you complete all the prerequisites and you can get access to the training, you get yourself a CEP instructor, which is CFI, or CFII, depends on their credentials, from the list of available instructors. You find yourself and reserve an aircraft, and we'll teach you how to do that. And you go on a self-funded mission for the first time. So the only thing, your expense will be that 1 hour or whatever the hops time
Will be after the flight of your out of pocket plus gas. So you have to refill the airplane to the level suitable for the mission. And the instructor will basically recommend you for onboarding program. The onboarding program is funded by Air Force. It's up to 5 flights with a CEP instructor, fully paid. Typically done shorter than that. If you're really consistent doing this one day after another. With your qualifications, it shouldn't be more than maybe a couple of flights, just to get accustomed to 182 if you didn't fly one yet. And if you didn't fly G1000 and getting used to G1000.
I think that's gonna be the thing. I've only flown six-pack stuff.
So that's not a problem. We have actually a formal.
You have to go through the formal training on G1000 on our online learning portal. Answer a few questions. You get electronic certificate on your record after you complete it. Then at our hangar we have actual aircraft with G1000. You can put external power to it and sit with myself, Mike, or anyone else available and go through it, practice it, get yourself comfortable. The operations here expected to do are very basic. Put in the VFR flight plan, use comms, and use additional equipment we have for the direction finder and the communication stack for CAP, and you are ready for your check ride.
Okay. Do you even need that for your Form 5? I don't even think you need the Becker.
For Form 5, no. For mission pilot, yes.
And it's only VFR fly with CAP?
No, you can do it.
Having an instrument qualification gives you additional opportunities.
In fact, that's something that right now we're lacking because there are Coast Guard missions that we can't fly because we don't have an instrument-rated mission pilot.
Right. Our squadron is missing out. We have no instrument-rated pilots. I just out of interest, I went as an observer on those missions. It's kind of fun, shorter, about an hour and a half in total.
Oh, it's not 3 hours sorties?
No.
Oh.
We only flew Catalina Coast.
Did you drive there, or did you fly there?
Whiteman.
Huh?
I drove to Whiteman.
Oh,
There
you
was
drove
no
by.
aircraft available.
And then they flew you over there.
Yeah, it was from Whiteman, so I drove there. We flew the mission and I drove back.
Yeah.
I was
I've
just
been to
interested.
I've been to the Coast Guard missions where they pick me up here at Riverside, then they fly me to San Diego, and then we do we do a briefing, and then we fly from there
It all
out.
depends on the pilot.
Yeah.
If pilot is willing to fly an extra couple of legs,
So
they come and pick you up.
just so you know, it's not just one way. It's whatever way works. You know?
Right. So
Do you have a
that-
commercial
that's
license?
I do, yes.
So
Single
that's-
multi.
That's another thing where Bob brought that up. There are certain corporate missions that we do. I think the most common of it is search dogs. When we fly search dogs, you have to be commercial rated to do those.
Yeah, we don't have any multi-engine airplanes.
No, yeah, I figured, yeah. But
We
yeah,
actually have 500 and a little over 550 Cessna aircraft, so we're the largest Cessna small single engine user in the world. So
But especially if you're building hours and not going a CFI route, you can get into a lot of flying.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely
It's
a
the
great
problem that we
option.
have is the CFI route.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be a CFI, so they don't have time to do the volunteer stuff. So
No,
that's
everybody's trying to make a living being a CFI.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
see,
that's why they
even
can't give
worse.
it away.
That's
even
that was my
worse.
biggest
For
thing.
example, in my case, I'm not planning to make living as CFI, but after flying cadets for a while, I figured I kind of want to become a CFI because if I'm a CFI flying cadets, they can log my time.
Oh,
Right.
that makes it's better for them.
Actually, you cannot.
Uh-huh.
You cannot log any time in a CAP aircraft,
Oh, is
whether
that-
you're an instructor or not.
Well, not even the cap instructors when they're instructing?
Well, I'm sorry, just the cadets. The cadets can't log any time. You gotta look that up. It's in the cadet rules, so,
Okay, I need to refresh.
yeah.
Okay, because they keep asking me, like, I'm not a CFI.
I know, they ask everybody, hey, can you sign my logbook? Well, no.
Sorry, no.
Now, if they're under the pilot training program to get their
Yeah,
private pilot's
if
license,
they're under
then
the
they
pilot
should do it
training, we
as a
do have
student.
cadet pilot training too, so that's a different program
But,
than cadet
especially
overrides.
for you, at that site,
Yeah,
pilot
definitely.
onboarding, and just start kind of getting, because, you know,
How
there's
many hours?
weird terminology and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
Just
How
like
many hours?
everything and everything military, I try my
I
best.
was gonna say everything and
Okay, so
everything, like
that's
aviation
fine.
related, it's so like convoluted and
I try my best to spell out all the acronyms so
Yeah.
that it's not so
I
overwhelming.
think for you, what
Thank you.
can be
I hate
useful
acronyms.
is
But, you
if
know,
come
just
aboard,
like start
you
kind of
can
viewing
s- you
viewing
can
it,
get qualified
and
as a
you'll
mission
see there
scanner
are.
and as a
It
mission
all sounds very
observer.
daunting.
As a
but
mission
the
observer,
onboard
Are you done?
training is
practice
actually very
radio
good.
communication.
Cut off?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, oh,
I mean,
cut it.
when I say good, it's
I don't see why not.
Make
Yeah,
it sound
exactly.
like talking
So-
to